Hello, you've caught me not thinking about Christmas, thank goodness, and finally resorting to my natural state, thinking about games.
Yes, how very original of me. Less broadly, I'm thinking about my games collection, or, even less broadly than that, my PS5 game collection. Contained within that collection are titles that, as far as I'm concerned, you simply must play if you own a PS5, whether you've had one for years or have just unwrapped one for Christmas. These are some of the most superbly made, exceptionally good-looking and brilliantly varied games of this generation. Games that, if you're a new PS5 owner, we recommend you check out at your earliest convenience so you can show off to all your non-PS5 owning friends.
So, here are 7 games every PS5 owner needs in their collection.
The first game every PS5 owner needs in their collection is one that single-handedly stopped the Access team getting any work done for an entire week: Astrobot.
We also lost most of October and November to the speedrun levels, and an entire December afternoon to the Christmas update.
This adorable little robot has technically been around since the Playroom back on PS4, but deservedly got his own fully fledged adventure last summer. It's a 3D platformer that wears its love of PlayStation proudly on its sleeve, both acknowledging the history of the console while pushing the PS5 to its absolute limit. There's an intimidating amount of creative level design on display, with every arena filled with fun power-ups that offer new challenges, along with a bunch of stuff you can mess about with just because it's there. I'm not ashamed to admit I spent more time simply jumping on this giant rubber duck than I did playing the actual level it's in.
Oh, it's like video game bubble wrap, this stuff, I just like the way it sort of goes all wobbly.
If you've recently got a new PS5, you'll also have Astro's Playroom to enjoy, which is also essential, and Astrobot is basically that, but bigger and even more amazing. It's pure joy in video game form, basically. Essential whether you're 9 years old or 90, and it does all that while offering a crash course in PlayStation history so detailed it could legitimately be used in the school curriculum.
Now that is homework I would literally sign up for.
If one of gaming's most iconic duos doesn't deserve a place in your gaming collection, then I don't know who does. Add in the fact Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is flippin' amazing, and I'm not sure there's an easier entry on this list.
Ratchet & Clank have been there every generation since PS2, often as the benchmark for how good games can look now.
My reaction to a new Ratchet & Clank is often one of open mouth and whispered expletives, followed by slowly panning the camera in disbelief. Rift Apart took it further and had me zooming right into Ratchet's eye in photo mode, just so I could scream at the ray-traced reflection of the level mirrored beautifully in that Lombax cornea.
It's in real time. It is in... Look, that reflection is in real time.
Was one such nonsensical outburst, shouted to no one in particular. But the important thing is, if you've got a PS5 and want to show off how good it looks to your friends, or just the ornaments in your living room, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is the game to get. As well as looks, there's all the charm and humour you'd expect from these iconic mascots, in addition to showcasing PS5's super-fast SSD through instantaneous rift hopping. Crucially, everything is anchored by buttery smooth action platforming and gloriously silly weapons. Yes, I'm looking at you, Pixelizer.
You will never get bored shooting things in Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, or zooming in on eyes in photo mode.
If you've been watching this video thinking, yeah, those games sound great and all, but none of them sound challenging enough for a hardened gaming veteran like me, then you're about to eat those words. That's because the next game every PS5 owner needs in their collection is Demon's Souls, Bluepoint's sumptuous remake of the game that kicked off the entire Soulsborne genre. Everything is as you remember from the 2009 original, only 10 times more beautiful.
Thanks, Bluepoint.
And every bit as punishingly difficult.
Thanks, Bluepoint.
Demon's Souls is a game every PS5 owner needs because of this beautiful challenge. It's a game that demands concentration and precision and rewards you with the kind of swords and sorcery vistas you remember from your favourite childhood fantasy novels.
You know, the ones that you used to buy based purely on how cool the dragons and castles looked on the cover.
Exploring this place is a gaming experience like no other, but Demon's Souls also serves as a monument to gaming history, a faithful reimagining of the game that gave birth to a genre that subsequently altered the DNA of the entire medium. Bonfires and respawning enemies and that simple on-screen declaration of "you died." It all started here.
If you're a new PS5 owner after something that is really going to test you, this is it.
Demon's Souls is a challenge you'll embrace because the gameplay loop is so uniquely rewarding. Yes, you'll die a bunch of times, but when everything starts to click and you land that perfect parry, finally vanquishing the boss that's taken up a week of your life, it's a rush like no other.
Or so I hear. Still haven't beaten the Tower Knight.
The next game every PS5 owner needs in their collection is one that's impossible not to have come across before, The Last of Us Part 1. Not just because it's a singularly celebrated masterpiece that continues to set the video game standard for writing and performance to this day, but because it's now a similarly praised TV show that managed to pull in an entirely new audience.
Which is great because The Last of Us is great, and the more people that like it, the better for all of us.
But if you haven't played this behemoth of a game yet, then let me break it down for you. A fungus-based viral outbreak has infected the populace and made your character, Joel, incredibly sad for reasons I can't bring myself to talk about. A, because it's a mega spoiler, and B, it would make me incredibly sad as well. Years later, Joel is still sad, but also tough now, and on a road trip to escort Ellie to a resistance group with the aim of eradicating the virus. But along the way...
It's too late, I'm already incredibly sad.
I mean, this is why you have to own The Last of Us Part 1. It's a game that gets under your skin like no other. Video game storytelling with the kind of emotional depth and nuance you'd associate with an Oscar-winning movie. It's also a superbly paced action game with satisfying melee combat, tense stealth sections, fantastically epic set pieces, and the most devastating opening cutscene ever. Yeah, we're back on the plot again, it's just that good. Plus, the PS5 version takes The Last of Us and makes it the best version of itself, with a substantial graphics upgrade and gameplay that takes full advantage of the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers of the DualSense wireless controller. Meaning every time you pull the trigger, the weight of that decision feels heavier than ever.
Want to feel this emotional too? New PS5 owners? Then The Last of Us Part 1. Play it.
If it really were the end of the world, you'd be really glad you played God of War Ragnarok before the lights go out. It really is that good, and that's why it's the 5th game every PS5 owner needs in their collection.
It's also a soundtrack everyone needs on their video game playlist. Just listen to this. Chills. Actual chills.
God of War is by no means a new series, but even nearly 20 years on, can you believe it? Playing as Kratos feels as invigorating and exciting as ever, and Ragnarok really has got it all. Frenetic combat with the kind of finishing moves that make you say, "Oh!" Anchored by a touching tale of fatherhood as Kratos and son Atreus try and find their place in a world so vast you can genuinely get lost in it.
Seriously, I got lost riding the sleigh around the frozen lake in Midgard.
But there's no greater selling strategy than just getting someone to play the opening hour of this masterpiece. A cast of characters giving the performances of their careers, especially the inimitable Christopher Judge as Kratos.
Come. We train.
Paired with a soundtrack by Bear McCreary, only matched in gravitas by the mythological landscapes you'll explore. Get this in your collection right now. You will not be disappointed.
What are you waiting for? Do it. I don't care if you already own it. Play it again.
The next game every PS5 owner needs in their collection is arguably this generation's definitive driving game, Gran Turismo 7.
It's a driving game so good that even people like me who know absolutely nothing about cars can still enjoy it.
The graphical fidelity on the car models is mind-boggling. Just look at that. Paint so shiny you can almost see yourself drooling in your armchair. You can't even get hung up on the fact you'll never own a car like this in real life because you'll be too busy enjoying all the perks of owning your dreammobile, lovingly staring at it, thrashing around world-famous tracks, staring at it some more, without any of the boring stuff like arranging service plans or getting car insurance quotes.
And you don't get punished when you get annoyed and swerve into your competitors.
Also, Gran Turismo 7 lets you race in virtual reality thanks to PSVR 2, and you can step up the immersion by using a compatible steering wheel as well. There's nothing in the world quite like feeling the virtual wind flow through your virtual hair on the Laguna Seca corkscrew in an open-top racer, the wheel in perfect harmony with the tarmac.
Well, there is one thing, I suppose, very much like it, but until I win the lottery, I will stick with this.
The last game that every PS5 owner needs in their collection is the newest iteration of a classic that just gets better over time. Like your favourite pair of slippers, Tekken is a series that will always make you feel warm and cosy, just like the day you last picked it up.
It also has the potential to make you burn with rage and fury, but that is a discussion for another video.
If you've never played a Tekken game before, then I am truly jealous of that first-timer joy. You will never experience a rush like when you crush your mate in a 1v1 for the first time, or the glow from finally smashing the fight with King that you've been struggling with for days. You'll come close, but never truly match it. Those that are already intimately familiar with the Mishima family's strife will know all this.
Tekken is basically EastEnders with muscles, you know, the same melodramatic family squabbles, only you get to punch everyone involved. Brilliant.
And Tekken 8 is the best the series has ever looked and felt, so if you don't have it yet, why not? What other PS5 game can you play where, during the epic conclusion of a father-son battle, you can say to yourself mid-head kick, "Wow, the way Dad's hair ripples as I beat him to a pulp is incredibly realistic." It's a truly excellent fighting game that stands out in an already stacked lineup of fighting games on PS5.
I wish you all the KOs in the world. Unless, of course, you come up against me and Hwarang online, in which case I wish you misfortune and defeat.
Well, that was our list of 7 games every PS5 owner needs in their collection. If you enjoyed this video, please do give us a like or leave a comment to tell us what other games you would include. Make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to make sure you're always up to date with all our videos, especially these, which are live every Friday. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.
PlayStation